Hi there, I'm Chris Berman of ESPN, and every time I'm in the area and I get back to the island, I listen to The Locker Room on your home for Hofstra sports. Whether they're the Pride or the Flying Dutchman, it's all the same. 88.7 FM, WRHU.
Berm, thanks a lot. Hope you're listening to this edition of The Locker Room right here on 88.7 FM WRHU. We're going to bring on Connor Keogh now, the men's lacrosse beat reporter for us here at the station. And Connor, let's recap a couple of games. Of course, they get doubled up by Navy and then gut out a 17-13 win against St. John's at snowy Stewart Stadium.
It's really hard this early in the year, Jack, to see where this team is. Obviously, everyone loved to talk about that 21-9 win over Wagner. Incredible win. And then you go and play a tough team in Navy. You go to Annapolis. You get doubled up there. You don't look particularly good. There was 2 separate 6-goal scoring runs for the midshipmen that game. Then you come back against a Power 5 team or a Power 6 team in lacrosse, and then you win it, which is great. The Red Storm were 0-12 last year. So we do not know exactly where this team is, but we do know Hofstra games feature a lot of goals. There have been 84 in 3 games combined between the two teams.
That's crazy. That is the main goal.
Hey, they didn't have Max Milstein last year, though.
Yeah, I know. Big addition for the Red Storm. So we could see their win total go way up this year. Of course, you mentioned bad loss against Navy, but there were some positives, right?
John Madsen's the positive, I feel like. He is consistent. He is consistent with his offense. Rory Jones had his 8-goal game on the first game of the season against Wagner. He got national press for that. That doesn't happen at Hofstra for lacrosse. Let's be real. And John Madsen quietly put up 4 points that game. He had 3 points against Navy. A tough game on the offensive side of the. Griffin Turner also extended his point streak to 13 games, dating back to actually the last game of his freshman year. He's a junior now. And Madsen, as we know, was the star against the Red Storm, where he had 6 goals and an assist for 7 points.
Yeah, you mentioned he's already approaching his 2023 season total. What has he done right this year that he perhaps wasn't doing last year? Where have you seen the biggest strides in his game?
You mentioned in your basketball segment that the sophomore to junior jump is a huge one. Madsen's now a redshirt junior. There's a new offensive system this year that Coach Gongas is running, and I actually think it's benefiting Madsen more. I think Rory had his great game. I think John Madsen might actually be the most consistent scorer on this team. He's getting himself in these opportunities to score. He's ripping the shots. I just pulled the stat that John Madsen is hitting the net on 84% of his shots, where Rory Jones is hitting the net on 57% of his shots. So his accuracy is improved, and he's putting himself in a position to succeed.
All right, so as we move forward here, of course, we talk about the Navy game, we talk about the St. John's game, and what those may or may not mean in terms of how good this team is. Of course, they get the MAAC Siena team, tomorrow? So, of course, they start a mini 2-game homestand against Siena and Marist. How do you see those 2 games going, and what's sort of the direction that this team is going if they're able to eke out a couple wins?
If you're men's lacrosse, you want to win these 2 games. Now, they won't be easy, but what you have coming up after that is significantly harder. You have number 14 Rutgers and number 19 UNC, 2 perennial great teams in lacrosse in this country. So to put yourself in the position, you want to win against Siena, you want to win against Marist. I do believe that they can pull out a win against Siena. Marist is a really good defensive team, and right now they've only played, I believe, 2 games, but their scoring margin is off the charts. And Hofstra's offense has been the thing so far this year. They put up 21 and 17 in a game, so it's going to be a battle of a really good offense, and Madsen and Jones and Sykes and all of them riding it versus a strong Marist team. That if we win that game and we go into the Rutgers game 4-1, there's a lot of momentum there.
And hey, how about North Carolina coming up to Stewart Stadium?
How nice of them.
In a big match. I mean, this is a team that's, it has national prowess. It's one of the best programs in the country in terms of men's lacrosse. So, this is it's an opportunity. I know it's not a nationally televised game, but it's an opportunity for Hofstra to really make a name for themselves here early in the season before CAA play begins.
It absolutely is. UNC was a Final Four team as recently as 2021. They have, I believe, 8 national championships under their belt in their time as a program. So it's going to be a really tough game for Hofstra. Coach Tierney talked about how he likes to schedule a really tough out-of-conference schedule. You have 14 Rutgers, number 19 UNC, number 10 Yale in the middle of their conference schedule right there. He likes to schedule it tough. He's hoping that when we finally get to CAA play, that being battle-hardened against all of these teams will make us one of the best teams in the conference, other than number 16 Delaware.
And so how about let's talk conference. Just one more question before we get to our beat reporter roundup. In terms of the conference outlook, right? Who is Hofstra's biggest target? Like, who has the target on their back in the CAA this year?
It's the Delaware Blue Hens. It always is. They have the preseason player of the year in J.P. Ward. He put up 7 goals in his first. Mike Robinson put up 7 goals in their first game. They are the absolute wagon of the CAA. There's other tough teams. There's Stony Brook. There's Towson, but Delaware is the number 1 team. Hofstra, the top 4 teams make the tournament out of the 8. There's 4 teams in the same group. Hofstra is with them, with Drexel, Towson, and Stony Brook. Hofstra needs to be one of the 3 of those 4 teams that makes it with Delaware.
It's going to be a tough field to compete in this year, certainly for the men's lax team. We got wrestling coming up, but first we're going to get our beat reporter roundup. You're going to hear from all your favorite beat reporters as we continue on here on The Locker Room.